Kris here, Green Sabre, episode 40 of Doom Telly. And it's a competition one, or a kind of little bit of fun entry this week. So this week I'm going to be doing Metal Marty Mac's 600 subscribers comp. And essentially, yeah, it's movies, films, movies, bands, songs. Yeah, I'll go into the nitty gritty shortly. Very quickly, of course, Green Sabre channel, Green Sabre update. No rehearsal since gig at the end of the month. So the drummer's away on holiday as of today, though, as you see in this. So we won't rehearse until the day before the next gig, in actual fact, which again I will reiterate. Bank holiday Monday, Manchester, Monday 28th of August. Frog Lord, Acid Trip, Jeremiah AD, us, Pier Hat, Manchester, be there. I think it's £8 tickets or something. So there's, I'll put the link to, or I'll put some kind of link to the gig anyway on this video at some point, because I should have probably done that. But follow our social media, it's all over that anyway. So yeah, gig coming up. So we've not rehearsed, but yesterday we were wandering through the woods of a place called sort of Silverdale near Arnside. Anyway, it's north of Morecambe. I love the little spot, doing band photographs. So watch this space. We have not done an official photo shoot since Rossi joined the band over 18 fucking months ago. So yeah, it's been much needed, but it's hard work. We get together for rehearsals, so unless we do the photo shoot at the rehearsal space, which isn't ideal, then it's rare that we sort of get together other than gigs and stuff. So yeah, it's really difficult to fucking choreograph. So seeing as we weren't rehearsing, we managed to, yeah, nail a weekend finally that we could do these photos. And yeah, I think they've come out pretty well, really. So yeah, watch this space. So that's what we were up to over at weekend. Okay, back to the video. The Metal Marty Mac 600 subscribers one. Now this, as soon as he did this video, I thought, I'm all over this bastard, because I love films, I love music, I love soundtracks as well. So this was a particular. Now, I do have a video good to go that I will get round to at some point, that are my top 20 film soundtracks of all time. So you'll be getting a sneak peek at some of them today as such like. So I thought long and hard over this, because the stipulations were of this video. Let me get this right. 600 subscribers comp. Okay, first of all, name 5 bands, albums, or songs that are also the name of a film. So that was really fucking hard, I found. Well, I say really hard because I could think of quite a lot off the bat, but I wanted to have. Now, there's some that I can't find the fucking film, and it's really annoying because I know that I've got them, but I can't find the bastards. So again, packed away. A lot of my DVDs, much like my CDs, are packed away in boxes. So I wanted to have ones that I at least had either the film or the soundtrack, or both ideally. But yeah, in a couple of cases, all I've got is the song or the album to go with it. I can't find the fucking film, but I do have it. And the second part of the comp, the video, is to name 3 of your favourite film soundtracks and films as such like. So yeah. So I was, yeah, like I say, I was all over this fucking competition. So yeah. So here goes. So as I've explained to you, I was very disappointed that I couldn't dig out a few things. But what I'm going to do first are my 5 songs, bands, albums that are connected to the name of a film. So what I'm going to do is start with one of them that I haven't got the bastard DVD of. The album is, of course, Corrosion of Conformity's Deliverance. And the film is the seminal Burt Reynolds, John Voight classic, Deliverance. You know, the old kind of don't go off the beaten track in yokel country kind of film. Well, yeah, anyway, I might insert an image of the film, just so if you don't know which one it is, which I'll be amazed if you're watching this video, then yeah, that's the film. But yeah, Corrosion of Conformity's Deliverance, a cracking album and a great film. It's one of them sort of films that I don't feel like they do enough of now, that are just a kind of plain thriller, jeopardy, romp, straight to the point, you know, they don't fuck around. Hour and a half film, something like that. I can't remember the running time of Deliverance, to be honest with you. But yeah, no messing around, just a very simple tale. Guys, go camping, whitewater, rafting, blah, blah, whatever it is that they're fucking doing. Come unstuck very quickly, and it's a battle for survival. So, yeah, Deliverance, great album, great film. So that's my number 1 on the list. My number 2, and I'll do the second one that I've got. No, and I wouldn't mind. I've got 2 copies of this fucking DVD. I've just got like one standard one that I picked up for about £2 from HMV, and one like special edition Blu-ray of it as well, because I fucking love it. It's one of my favourites. This is Deaf Heaven's Sunbather. You're thinking, Deaf Heaven? Sunbather? No. There is a track on this album called, it's the second one on side B? Anyway, whichever it is, the track, you won't be able to see it, is Vertigo. And Vertigo, insert image, because fuck knows where it is, or where they are. Vertigo, classic Hitchcock film. I think my favourite Hitchcock film, and certainly my favourite Hitchcock soundtrack. It is an immense bit of Bernard Herrmann at his very, very fucking best. There's another film that I love, a more recent one with Harrison Ford called What Lies Beneath, Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer. Basic ghost, you know, I was saying that they don't make enough of these sort of straight to the point films. Well, that's another, it's just a great straight up ghost story thriller. Brilliant film if you haven't seen it. But the soundtrack to that is very much in the vein of Bernard Herrmann. I forget the guy that wrote the soundtrack, but he was clearly channeling his Bernard Herrmann for that. And the soundtrack to Vertigo is just an immense bit of work. It's a great film, and I love that song off of that fucking Deaf Heaven album as well. Great album too. So yeah, my next one is Vertigo. Okay, now something with both media and film. Okay, so, and it's the name of an album again. My number 3 is Strapping Young Lads, Alien. And the film this time to accompany it as well. That's the Blu-ray quadrology box set. Yeah, I mean, Alien and Aliens are 2 of the greatest sci-fi horrors ever. Arguably the greatest sci-fi horrors ever made. I have a soft spot for Alien 3. I like it, the prison one with Brian Glover in it. I think that's decent. It's good. It's sort of, it does what you want from an Alien film or something. Alien Resurrection, the 4th one, is a steaming pile of turd. But I'll watch it if it's on, because it's an Alien film. But Resurrection, the 4th one, is the fucking weakest one for me. And I'm including the prequels. I really like Prometheus, and I don't mind Covenant either. Resurrection's shit. It's just bad. Some of the effects are quite nice. Decent cast, just wasted on a terrible film. But yeah, Alien and Strapping Young Lad, Devon Townsend, Alien. Great film, great album as well. One of Devon's finest for me, if you ask me, which I'm sure he didn't. But anyway, so yeah, that was my 3rd. My 4th, and I've only got one of them, the DVD copy that I've got of it, the only one that I've got is one of them that you used to get free with fucking papers. I'm sure I got this off my dad. Did it come with the... Yeah, it came with the Times. My dad liked to read that fucking nonsense. Anyway, I'll stop waving it around. The Killing Fields. Classic film. Great film. Harrowing. Yeah, it's dark stuff. If you haven't seen it, give it a watch. Killing Fields. And the accompaniment is this. Now, this is my Divine Intervention. And the opening track on this is... if you can see it without the glare, Killing Fields. So yeah, that was an easy one to go to. A decent album. I quite like this one. And that's a great film, but like I say, harrowing. But yeah, The Killing Fields and Slayer's Killing Fields off Divine Intervention. So that's my number 4. And my number 5, the last one of the songs, bands, album that's named after films, is another one of my favourite films of all time. Fantastic film. Classic Mitchum. Robert Mitchum in Night of the Hunter. He is fucking phenomenal in this film. I went to a fancy dress party a few years back dressed as Robert Mitchum in this as the preacher with the love-hate tattoos on the knuckles. I haven't got the real ones. I drew them on with a Sharpie. Absolutely immense film. If you want to watch someone just absolutely nail that sort of just horrible, nasty, calculating. Robert Mitchum's fucking fantastic in this, and it's a great film. Really, really good film. And the song is, I feel like this is a bit of a cheat as well, because this is the awesome, awesome album. And if you haven't heard it, go out and listen to it. Mike Patton's side project, Fantomas, and this is their second album, the director's cut. And it is basically all film scores done metal styling. So you've got the Omen on here, you've got Der Golem, Experiment in Terror, One Step Beyond, you've got Night of the Hunter, which is why I'm showing you this, Cape Fear, Rosemary's Baby, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. There's some fucking absolute gems on here. So yeah, it's a bit of a soundtrack. I mean, quite honestly, I could have picked all 5 off of this album, but I thought I'll just do one because it felt like a tiny bit of a cheat. So yeah, they're my 5. The second part of this competition. 3 of my favourite films / sort of soundtracks. Now these, I've got the film and the soundtrack. So yeah. And 2 of my favourite films of all time, I don't have the soundtrack. Arguably my favourite film of all time is the classic John Carpenter film, The Thing. And every time they keep repressing that sound, and it's one of my favourite soundtracks as well, because it's a classic bit of, you get the John Carpenter score, but Ennio Morricone does the classical score for it as well, and it's just fucking breathtaking. Waxwork Records have repressed it about 4 times now, and as soon as they come out, they're fucking snapped up. They're really popular, because I don't know if you know about Waxwork, US company. They do. I've got a Waxwork pressing of the Salem's Lot soundtrack, and the vinyl's always really nice, splattery colours. The cover art are phenomenal. They know the subject, and they fucking clearly love it. So any Waxwork reissues of stuff are well worth a look in. Well, I keep missing out on the fucking Thing one. Every time they re-release it, I'm not quick enough. And I fucking miss it. So I've not got the Thing soundtrack. Otherwise, the Thing would be in here. I've got about 4 copies of it on Blu-ray DVD. I've still got the old VHS somewhere, I'm fucking sure. Alas, I don't have that soundtrack yet. Another one is American Werewolf in London, one of my favourite films of all time. I feel like they've never really done the soundtrack properly, though. There is a vinyl that you can get hold of a reasonably decent price, but I've not gone and got it because it's not got the full Elmer Bernstein score on it, and that's my favourite part of that soundtrack. You just get it with the Blue Moon and fucking Bad Moon Rising on it and stuff. All the sort of contemporary tracks that were in the soundtrack. It's just them. You don't get any of the score, and it's the fucking score that I want. So that is the reason that those 2 are my favourite films of all time are not in here. Anyway, I digress. We were talking about John Carpenter before. And my number 3 that I'm going to go into is one of my favourite John Carpenter films and favourite John Carpenter scores. The film is The Fog. Now this is, I was talking about Waxwork Records before. They've done a stunning reissue with this. Really nice artwork, nice sort of icy blue and white vinyl. Yeah, fucking lovely. This is, one of vinyl's green, one of them's white. I can't be asked digging it out, so you'll have to, if you want to see, go and buy yourself a copy. It's a fantastic soundtrack, and it's a great film. This is the DVD special edition. I do have it Blu-ray somewhere, but I thought I'd dig this one out because it looks exactly the same as the soundtrack. But my number 3, fabulous film. Yeah, is the plot a bit weird in places? Yeah, there's some slight plot holes that don't really add up, but it's just, I mean, for a film that is essentially a few guys that you don't really ever see properly with hooks on their hands and stuff like that, and just loads of dry ice machines. It is phenomenal. Just a great, great film. And a great, great soundtrack. A classic bit of John Carpenter. I love, like, the main score for it. Fabulous. So, yeah, The Fog. My number 2. And I adore this soundtrack and I adore this film. Now, the soundtrack's a bit sort of off-kilter for me because it's not really metally or deep and dark and dramatic. It's mainly shoegaze and sort of stuff like that. The film is, and here's a lovely shot of Scarlett Johansson's ass on the front cover of the Lost in Translation soundtrack. I've been after this soundtrack for ages, and finally they reissued it last year. Finally, because the original press of it was going for fucking daft money. They reissued it a few years back for a Record Store Day release. It was on like a kind of burgundy transparent vinyl, really nice. I wanted them. I went there. So I don't often go to Record Store Days because I think they're a bit of a fucking con for the most part. Just extortionate prices for stuff that does anyone really want for the most part. But anyway, this was one that I went for, and because I'd not fucking camped out there on the street like all the psychos that did, I missed out on it. They only had a few copies in at Crash, sadly, so I missed out on that one. But finally, last year, I got hold of it, and it's one of my favourite soundtracks ever. The guy from My Bloody Valentine, Kevin Shields, as he called, does most of the... there's a My Bloody Valentine track on here, and yeah, it's just fucking brilliant. I love the film as well. I love Bill Murray stuff, but this is one of his better ones for me. A lot of Bill Murray stuff follows the same kind of trope. All his films have the same kind of like that. He's a bit of an arsehole, nobody likes him, but then he kind of comes good in the end kind of thing. This is more of a kind of... I just fucking love it. I love all the... because it's all filmed in Tokyo. I love all the sort of shots of Japan out there, and... yeah, it's just a really, really good... It's a fucking love story, I suppose, really. But it's an ace one, and I love it. One of my favourite films ever. And one of my favourite soundtracks of all time. And you will see that. And you'll see that on that soundtrack top 20 that I do eventually. Oh, so close to my favourite soundtrack of all time. And one of my favourite films ever. It is an absolute fucking masterclass in brooding menace. The film is There Will Be Blood. Daniel Day-Lewis's finest hour for me, and he's got a lot of fine hours in him, but this is just fucking immense. I mean, I don't think there's a word spoken for the first 15 minutes of the film. It's a long time, but it is just a fucking masterclass. He is just horrendous in this film. Awful, awful fucking person, but he brings such fucking drama to the role. That's why he's a fucking great actor. The film is immense. The soundtrack is equally as immense. And there's the soundtrack, the There Will Be Blood soundtrack, done by Johnny Greenwood, who, if that name rings any bells, one of the guitarists out of Radiohead. And he's done a lot of film scores recently. A lot of Paul Thomas Anderson ones as well, who did There Will Be Blood. He also did The Phantom Thread. That's another great soundtrack, great film. But this is my favourite film of his, and my fucking favourite soundtrack, I like to say, arguably, of all time. It is brilliant. I mean, it's a score. It's done sort of classically. If you were thinking the guy at Radiohead that the guitar and stuff, no, you'd be wrong. It's just beautiful. Some of the music is beautiful. It fits the film perfectly. It fits the underlying threat and menace of the film perfectly, and it's unhinged in places. One of my favourite bits... and it's sort of halfway through the soundtrack of this, but I'm sure it's the opening of the film where you just get this long drawn out, it sort of fades in, drawn out violin plunge almost. I'm doing a very, very bad fucking impression of it. But yeah, you just get this violin sort of descent plunging into the fucking note that he settles on, as you sort of see the California scenery in the background of it, and it goes from there. It's fucking breathtaking. Fabulous film, fabulous soundtrack, and that is my entry. I don't know what the prize is besides just a pat on the back, but I'd be happy with that. Like I say, as soon as I saw this video on Marty's, I thought, I'm having that. I'm having some of that. So there are my entries. I hope you enjoyed them. I keep forgetting to look if there's been many other entries. It's one I've not been on YouTube a tremendous amount recently. So yeah, I need to sort that out. Under 20 minutes. Let's wrap this up. This is a very quick video. Pieface will be fucking thrilled for you, Simon. So yeah, that's my entry. Next week, I think I'm going to do another bit of inspiration from Altars of Madness. He recently did a 10 albums, just albums, that are 10 out of 10. Again, quite difficult, but I've picked a top 10, so I think that might be next week's video, but you'll just have to wait and see. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe, and thanks to my new subscribers. I'll see you next time. Later, guys.